Hey everybody, welcome to Ultimate Effort, the official unofficial webcast of Index Card RPG. Our quest, as always, is to bring you ideas, tips, tricks, and insight. A little bit of news so we can level up your ICRPG experience. I'm Matt, the world's okayest DM, together as always with Matthew, Mike, Alex, and John. And we have no special guests. You notice there are 5 boxes instead. Other than you yourselves, I really want to take a second just to acknowledge all the interest and thank everyone in the Google Plus community for all your awesome questions. There's a lot to get to. We do plan to address all of what you guys are posting. You all have posted excellent topics and for conversation, give us a lot of food for thought. I want you all to know your questions on the list. We're going to get to it, I assure you.
Long list.
For today, we've got we've got a couple of things in the pipe here that are interesting. We were just before we went live, we were having a little discussion about something that maybe you guys have thought of, maybe you haven't. There is the question is it's not really so much a question rather than an observation that we're kind of sharing. ICRPG seems to be used for an awful lot of one-shots rather than full-on campaign. We were discussing, is ICRPG, do you think it lends itself better to campaign play or just that one-shot? Which is it, you know? But before we were able to really get to the meat of that matter, things snarled in the darkness, and oh god, a black dragon! It breathed acid breath on us. Roll initiative.
18 here.
19.
Oh wow.
16.
I rolled a 3.
Oh my goodness.
Classic.
I rolled a 9. So, Alex, last. So, one-shots and campaigns. Does Index Card RPG lend itself better to one than the other? What do you think, John?
Well, I think the reason why we see a lot of one-shots versus campaigns is because one-shots are easy to write and they're easy to run, and quite honestly, they're easy to introduce people to the new system. However, I think that it's like it really should be used to run campaigns simply because it's easier to run, it's easier to maintain, and I mean we've seen some campaigns extend. We've seen some adventures extend past the first adventure already. You know, we've seen this happen already in the last Flight of the Red Sword that Hank ran. I think it went into Matt. You're in that game.
Yeah.
It went into what is it? The Splinters of Iris.
Yeah, part 3 will hopefully be coming down the pipe sometime soon too.
Yeah. And I mean that adventure even involved a total party wipe at one point. So I mean, like, the system is built to have is built to have long-term gameplay if you really want it to. And if you happen to have a healer in your party, which one of my groups does, oh my goodness, your party's going to be alive for a long time. And with the advent of the new Constitution recovery rules, I mean, your players are crafty, and now they're survivable in the system. So yeah, no, it's definitely for a long-term thing.
Healing definitely, not to overtalk you, I'm sorry, but the healing definitely got a little bit more beefy with 1.3, even than just that subtle rules change. So I know what you're talking about.
That subtle rules change, I think, revolutionized the system. We went from not seeing anybody use the recovery system to, at least the last time I played it, everyone used it at least once in the adventure. You know, it's like, why wouldn't you? And a healer, especially if they have a higher milestone, healing Nova. Quick point: if you have a healer that has the healing Nova spell, the first thing you should do is put spell burn on that shit, because it is massively powerful spell.
Yeah.
But just make sure add rest spots.
Or you could get really crafty and have it heal any enemies who are also in range.
Oh my god! I was this tempted to do it, but they were in trouble enough as it was.
Cool.
But yeah, no, it's.
That's some good points,
I
man.
definitely think that it's better for campaigns than it is for one shots. It's easier to tell stories with the system than with anything I've ever seen before. So, and that's my turn.
Matthew, what's your thought on that, man? You came in at initiative 18.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go the opposite way and say it works for campaigns. Like, it's easier to scale it because you have a limit of 10 items, so no one's gonna become OP with like 20 spells or something like that. But I feel like the reason why it's used for a one shot is because the system is really simple first, so you can put up a one shot in like 15 minutes.
Sure.
It's action packed, like a good one shot should be. And if you want to run a one shot, I think it was hard before ICRPG because using the older systems, it's hard to like create characters in no time. It's hard to create encounters that are balanced and like action packed and everything. Anyway, that's how I feel. Like, I used to play D&D 5th edition, and for real, I had a hard time running one shots. They were either too slow, boring, like throw ghouls at them, and like we all love ghouls, but man, fuck ghouls, at some point. Yeah. So
variety is the spice of life. One can fight only so many ghouls.
Exactly. So what I was just trying to say is, yes, it works for campaigns, for long-term campaigns, because it just boils down to role-playing and getting into your character and creating bonds between the party members. So any good system, actually any system can do that. And the reason why it's used for one-shot right now is just because it's probably the only system that allows for good one-shots. So, and people realized it. Hankerin just showed us how to create encounters with timers and how to make them action-packed as hell. And that's why it's happening right now.
With a minimum of effort.
Exactly. Basic work.
All right, moving on. Initiative 16, Mike. What do you think?
I have to add stuff on what Mathieu said. I think it comes down to the investment problem, and by investment problem, I want to talk about the invested time of constructing a campaign or a one shot versus the fun produced out of it. I believe that because it's easier to design these one shots, and they produce a better outcome. And if you fail, it's easy to just brush it off and like continue. When you fail in your long-term campaign, it has repercussion in the future. So, like, let's say the Lich King dies right there, and you're like, shit, he wasn't supposed to die, and it fucks up all your story and your lore. And you feel like running along, like the advantages of running along a long campaign is your self-actualization while you're being creative. That's the funnest part. Is as a GM, all this creativity is gonna produce like lots and lots of fun, but it's time consuming, and you're constantly barricaded with self-doubt and overthinking, and it sometimes paralyzes you in your creativity. But when you're running a one shot, it's little preparation for the players and the GM, and that's pretty much it. And if I want to add as well, the reason why people are running one shots is it's a consequence of our time. People are busy. People have different schedules. And
can I add something to that? Yeah. You can actually reuse the one shot and make them better every time. You can play the same one shot with different groups. It saves so much time. And
people are they have diminishing spans of concentration and focus when they do shit. So like, you're going to be on your phone, you're going to be like, one shots is like, bam, direct. You have like it's 4 hours, man. You're gonna go through it, and it's action packed. That's the advantage of ICRPG. It's action packed.
I have the experience of like all the one shots that I run. Everyone wants to. Okay, when are we playing again? I'm like, I guess we could do that. You know,
Well,
you know what I mean,
I think it's a good starter. It's a good starter, and then it gets you like, okay, fuck, this happens. I'm gonna construct a story around it. I actually went and checked in the ICRPG manual to see how many times the word one shot would come out, and how many times the word campaign came out. Campaign came out 8 times, and one shot came out 6 times. So I was wondering, is it due to as you read, because you constantly read the word one shot, people started to assume it was for one shot, but it's not the case. Campaign comes out more often.
Sure. They're perhaps psycho programs.
Yeah, well,
to by the book that they're reading.
That's all I have to say about that. Sorry to take so much time.
Oh no! Hey man, that's cool. Next is Alex. What did you roll for initiative? 3.
Yeah, I had a 3.
All right, cool. Hey, you know what, man? I'm gonna delay my action.
Oh my!
I'm gonna go ahead and do that, man. I want to see what happens to you if you get dissolved by acid or not.
Well, it very well could happen. I've got a little bit to say on this, so I'm going to apologize in advance if I'm long-winded. But the short answer is yes. I think you can use ICRPG for both short and long-term gaming. I'm currently running it a campaign right now using ICRPG. We started out in 5e and then we converted over. So that's a little bit of a teaser for what's to come. But I think for me, one of the reasons why I like ICRPG for the long haul boils down to 2 concepts. And the first one is going to be challenging characters. First of all, I don't think it's fun at all if your characters are Conan and they're killing 50 goblins in one swipe. And right. Well, it can be, but certainly that gets very boring after a while when you're not challenging them.
Yeah, point taken.
You need that at least once.
Yeah, that's right. So, and we'll talk about variety, of course, but in general, that can't be the default all the time. Similarly, your characters can't be getting crushed all the time, because then they're just victims, and there's nothing heroic about that either. Nor is that fun for anybody, especially if you're that DM.
Sure.
For me, where the game gets awesome is when characters are ragged. It's the struggle that we care about.
Yes.
And so, look at any good piece of fiction, look at any great movie that you like. We love it when protagonists get beat up, get knocked down, get right to that point of failure, and then at the last moment somehow come through to save the day.
Yeah,
that's exciting. And if you can replicate that at your table, I guarantee you it is going to be awesome. Now, to tie this into ICRPG, what I love about it is I do not have to work very hard as a DM to challenge people. And
kind of built into the rule set already, because you only have 10 stinking hit points at the beginning.
Absolutely. And so literally for say 3 to 4 brand new characters, I can throw 4 to 5 1-heart monsters at them, maybe occasionally a boss with 2 hearts. And very quickly I can get everybody down to around 2 or 3 hit points, but somehow, some way they will find a way to still overcome. And that is awesome. And I can rinse, wash, and repeat literally 3 rooms and that same encounter session after session after session over the long haul, not even changing any of the loot, and still make it just as exciting as day one. Now, I'm going to go into my second topic on this, which is then scaling. And so let's assume that you do give these players better loot. Again, I think ICRPG scales even better than D&D, than 5e, because with all of the abilities in 5e, by the time characters are around level 5, and certainly by level 10, they're almost gods at the table. And I found I have to work very hard as a DM to challenge folks. I really do. With ICRPG, I don't have to work very hard to challenge those folks. Even if they get some better loot, we just go up to 2 heart monsters, and I may not even have characters at the end of my first story arc. They may not even get a heart until they're done an extra heart until they're done that entire arc. So yeah. I can keep them in that ragged state over the long haul and make it really super fun and really super exciting. And I'm sorry that was so long, but that's the reason why I think ICRPG would really shine during the long haul.
Cool.
Yo, you guys need to stop apologizing, man. What
Yeah.
you say is really valuable, man. Take your time, guys.
I love all the if I could actually, if anything, Alex, if I could get more of your thoughts out into the world, that would be ideal for me.
Oh, that's very kind of you guys.
There's
Depending on what Matt has to say, I think I have something to add, based on something I think Mike said, but please.
there's I guess I'm going last here, and I think that because of aforementioned things, I run a lot of one shots. Like I probably do one or two every weekend. It's very, very easy to do one shots, and especially with ICRPG, I threw one together in about 20 minutes. It's perfect for it. However, campaigns are hard to do. They're tough to do in ICRPG, not because of any failing of the system. It's just that if there's a problem with running a campaign using ICRPG, it's the same issue that you have doing a campaign in any system, and that's kind of touches on like what Mike said. It's the investment, it's the commitment. You need. It's hard for me to find somebody that to sit down and plan a 15 session campaign with. I don't know if they're going to be around, let alone still alive, in 30 weeks or something, if I'm meeting every other week, but, and there's, it's just, it gets to the point where, I find it really easy to get people interested in campaigns, more so than in like D&D 5th edition or any edition really, because it is so easy to create those one-offs that people will come to you saying, hey, you know what, that was awesome. I really like my character. It was so simple. Let's continue playing that story and see where it goes. If you're playing with a decent group, they kind of start coming to you with campaign ideas, which has never happened to me before. Open air, guys. What do you think?
That's really awesome, by the way.
Yeah, for real.
Shit. If I can add something, and you also have to be aligned. Like you said, you have to plan a 15 session campaign, but you also have to be aligned with your player goals as well. Like your campaign has to be aligned with what they want out of a session, so that in a way it castrates your creativity in this long-term session, which is, I think it's hard for a creative person to like work under like these tight constraints. Like everybody here likes, I know Matt likes to blast some shit, and puzzles are not really his thing. And
I will destroy I will light the fucking puzzle on fire almost every time if I can. Better make that shit indestructible.
If I make a campaign and I want it to be a political puppet master, House of Cards bullshit,
yeah, that's gonna become Fire and Blood if I'm in that game.
It's gonna become like a Game of Thrones episode. So yeah, that's what I want to add. You can go ahead, John.
So, based on what Mike said, and I guess a little bit on continuing on what Matt was saying. So, what I like about, because right now I actually am trying to write a campaign, about a 15 session campaign in ICRPG, starting from the ground up, and over the course of about 4 hours, I was able to outline the whole thing, like the big stuff, where it's the major conflicts, leaving the story essentially up to what the hell the players are going to do and what the game master wants to make out of it. Right now, I'm starting to shrink it down to I've almost designed the first iteration of the first adventure.
Yeah.
And so, I think like Alex was saying, teaser things to come. I think we'll start seeing more campaigns slowly start to show up. But what I like about it is starting the adventure writing and the campaign writing from the standpoint of the format that we currently have in Index Card. The bullet points, the very general stuff, where it gives the benefit of the doubt to the game master to fill in the blanks. And then at the very end, in the conclusion, like, seriously, read these adventures all the way through. They're brilliantly designed. In the conclusion, it tells you like how it impacts the world if they succeed and if they fail. And it succeeds the goal of the adventure. Because let's remember, like, the point of your group being there at all is to be on an adventure. Sure. So if you're worried so much about drawing them into the story, you're probably missing the point. If your players aren't there to play, then why are they there? And so, like, and that is the problem with, like, campaigns. Like, most people don't have the time to invest in a 15-session campaign. I mean, that can be 6 months to a year of gaming. Sure. But some people really want that. Some people want to have that full-length story. I'm one of those kinds of people. Yeah. That want to experience a full character progression. I want to play that movie, I want to play that book, And,
yes.
I had to say something, man. It's going to tie up to what you're saying right now and what Matt said in a way. Like, Matt said that by running one-shots, players came back to him and wanted to invest in the story.
And that's the key.
So it's kind of... Yeah.
And then you build the campaign. So when designing a campaign, and the way that I'm doing it, the first adventure is meant to be completed in one session and can be a book-ended thing if they really wanted to. And if they're just not interested, fine, do something else. If they want to continue, then there is a sweeping story that can take them on through the next 6 months if they really wanted to. In the world of Alpha. And there was something that Mike said about how, like, oh, the Lich died and he wasn't supposed to die, and, like, adventure number 2, what the hell do I do? What I like about the system is the, like, one, it's the, like, conclusion, succeed or fail aspect in the ending. But the other thing, too, is just how easy it is to throw together an adventure campaign in the system. It makes those, like, oh crap moments really easy to fix.
But that's the point of running one-shots. You don't have... You take off the stress of building this big arc that if something bad happens, you fuck up all the work you did. It's not just that you destroy the story, it's that, I mean, you invest time in creating something, and there's a chance that it fails. But by doing one shots and just, it's not actually improv, because you always have like these ideas for what's next. Mm-hmm. But at least you don't invest so much time and risk wasting it in a way.
Yeah.
So
if I
so there's
add to
so as
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry. Yeah. I just wanted to add like this quick thing. I think 15 sessions is too much. I would bring it out to 6 sessions. 6 session is reasonable, and you can always extend it and create like, that's all. Go ahead, John. That's all I want to say.
No, I mean that's good. I mean, different people have different preferences for campaign lengths. If 6 is an average thing, then that's good.
Well, it could be spanned out. Like, you go think of it like seasons. So like it's 5 sessions season, and then there's like a month break because people are busy, and then it's season 2, and then you do another 5 session, and then season 3, just to like stretch it out. Go on.
There's also the notion of doing a campaign built out of one-shots.
Yes.
Using the same characters, but in different situations. And I've done that before, and that's really cool.
Which is basically how the setting of Warp Shell is set up.
Sort of. Yeah.
So, like, if you really want to do that, like, there's no better place to do it than Warp Shell. But as a game master at your table, if you want to make a campaign as you go, there's really no better system than Index Card, because it's so easy to plan one session at a time.
Cool.
And like you do it by the bullet points, and you can have your next session ready within an hour. So that's not a whole lot of investment and work as a game master into this massive story. Now, as authors trying to make a pre-generated campaign for game masters to use, on the other hand, there's still a lot of work, but it's like a fraction of what it would be with Dungeons and Dragons.
We gotta pull the rug up from under you there, man, because our time in town has ended.
Which is good, because that was everything I had to say about that.
It is.
So Mike, when are we gonna resume Valor 5?
There you go.
Hey,
we gotta do that soon.
Yeah, we could do that next week.
Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, we can do that next week.
Perhaps we could cast that for these fine people.
Come on, bro.
Roberto.
I'm ready, man. I got it right here. Let's do it.
Okay.
There's